Hello everybody, welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. So today's video, I'm going to show you how to properly use worm castings in your garden. So a couple of things that we're going to go over is 1, why worm castings? 2, what are worm castings? 3, how and when do you use worm castings? So I have my box of worm castings and I'm going to show you right here where I was putting in the bulbs for the garlic the other day. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. Very interesting, and it might give you a little bit of help with a new no-till garden. Guys, when you first start out with no-till, depending on your soil type, it can be very difficult to get transplants into the ground, so check out that garlic video. If you have not done so yet, please like, comment, and subscribe. We thank all of you for rowing in our boat. Our channel is growing. It's so exciting. It makes me very thankful that God gave us this platform to help you grow food affordably without heavy equipment and without chemicals. Because in this day and time, you're going to find getting fertilizers, pesticides, all of that stuff is going to get harder and harder and more expensive. So it's a good thing we're all rowing in each other's boats and we can get our gardens started without all that nonsense. So let's look at these castings. I had an order go out for worm castings, so I sold most of these, but look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely beautiful. So what I'm gonna do, guys, right here, where I put in the garlic the other day, you can see it's already sprouting, okay? I'm going to sprinkle it across the top, and look at that. Look at that. In my worm castings, when you order from Starkey Farmstead, you're gonna get some live worms. So let's get that little baby down in there and get it covered up with a little bit. Now, we're just gonna do that, guys, all through here. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's not gonna pollute the waterways if all of a sudden I get a torrential downpour tonight and all this, washes into my pond. Guess what? Not gonna hurt the pond. Our worm castings at Starkey Farmstead are completely organic. So I am not at all concerned about toxic chemicals getting into my pond, which is right there where those trees are, on the other side of that white tarp. So that's how you use worm castings, guys. Grab a handful and you toss it out. You just get it down. Get it in there. So let me show you what you would do with pumpkins and vining, like cantaloupe and stuff. Let me show you how you can really help this plant. All right, so right here I've got a gourd. This was a gift plant. It put itself here. Didn't really have a choice. Normally I fence these guys, but look, okay. So you see under the leaves, that big beautiful stem. Cover it with worm castings, okay? Like that. You've got another section right here where you've got a lot of the nodule right here sitting on the ground. Cover all that. Worm castings. Go back towards the roots. Throw some back there. Now, for you guys who have been watching us for a while, these are all still the same plants that my father and I put in this garden back in May. They are still producing, and we are in October. So that by itself should make you a believer. Even with all of the attacks from bugs, and we did. Sorry, I'm getting over a little sinus funk. You see this right here? See how salt that is? And right here, and right there, and it just keeps on. You can see the damage from the squash vine borer. But guys, it's still flowering up, still producing squash. All right, so what I'm gonna do for this plant, so I'm just gonna give it a little more food, right? You can't overuse worm castings. People are like, well, how much do I use? Depends on how much you think you need. Put some right there because look at the squash coming up. So I want to help it. I want my food to be nutrient dense, guys. So I have to feed the soil. I am not feeding this plant. Look at all that squash coming up. And this is all new growth. Follow the stem back. Look where it comes out of the ground. All that has been cut off and has died. This will probably go ahead and cut off too. Not looking so great, but it's still growing there. Still got squash there, still growing here. So you just want to help it out. Put some castings along that stem, pat it down. All right. I will tell you, the Vaseline and hot sauce made a huge difference in keeping them alive because it made the squash vine borer back out. I'm treating the soil in a way that it helps the plant lay down roots because worm castings are root stimulators. Now remember, you can start your seeds in a worm casting mix, all right? That's what we do. So that as it germinates, it's germinating in a healthy way. It's going to be a healthy plant because from the start, it was in healthy soil. So I hope this helps you guys just have an idea of how we use worm castings. When I do my transplants and I dig the little hole with the little drill, I'm filling that hole in with rabbit manure, compost, worm castings. Then I come back all season. I don't have to worry about, oh, is it gonna rain today? Can I get my worm casting spray on there, my worm tea? Can a foliar spray, is it gonna wash it off and kill all the fish and tadpoles and dragonflies in my pond? I don't have to worry about any of that. Think. Work smarter, not harder. Using worm castings in your garden will keep your plants going, guys, when they have been smashed by pests. When everybody else is like, okay, I'm done with my summer garden, finished with it, I'm yanking all these plants out, and now you have a garden area with nothing in the soil. And that's not good for your soil. So you're seeing plants across this whole area that have been in this soil in southeast Louisiana since May. May, June, July, August, September, October, 6 months, guys. 6 months. You saw the damage to the roots, to the stems, yet these plants are still producing new growth and food, all right? That's what you want. You want your garden to work for you. Think about how much work it would be for me to have to terminate all this, take down all my fencing, bring in my tarp it down, kill it, because I would right there, kill it right there, so that the roots stay in the soil and all the nutrients that the roots pulled up to grow this plant goes right back into the soil. So I would have to do all that work right now while I'm getting my fall and winter garden in the soil. That's double the work. We're in southeast Louisiana. Your food that you planted in May, that you planted in April, that you planted in March, those plants could still be producing if your soil could handle it, okay? My soil's not really there yet. That's why you see me out here in October babying these plants with worm castings. So give me a call today. Get your worm castings from Starkey Farmstead. Why worm castings? Because worm castings are organic matter that has been ingested by a composting worm and then pooped out, okay? So as this worm is ingesting all of this organic matter like leaves, shredded wood, newspaper, cardboard, rotting vegetables and fruits, as that worm is ingesting it, it is literally filtering out the toxins that might be in that organic matter. Enzymes and bacteria, fungi that your soil and your plants desperately need. So what are worm castings? AKA worm poop. Real simple. The worms eat all the organic matter, runs through their body, gets filtered, gets processed, gets detoxed, gets filled with all the correct bacteria and fungi. The worm poops, and there it is. Basically, worm poop is worm castings, aka vermicompost. And guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, you cannot beat it to grow in. None of that is made by worms, from plants, for plants. So you're taking the materials that were once living plants, living trees, living organisms. The worms are going to eat that degrading material, and they're going to poop out what those plants need to then grow again. You can't beat that. That is actually God's most beautiful thing when he created the earth. In my opinion, one of the most beautiful things that he did was what happens underneath the soil under your feet. And that food soil web is so important, guys. And we get out here and we till our garden. And I've told people this story before. When my husband and I were talking one time, and I said, well, if you till the soil and you cut up the little worms, what happens? And he goes, then you have 2 worms. Y'all, I literally believed that for like 3 years. Don't judge. Don't judge me. Some of you would have fallen for that too. My husband can be very convincing. But basically what happens is you kill the worms. You don't want to do that. You don't want to destroy the worms. You don't want to destroy their cocoons. You don't want to mess with the soil food web. And tilling does just that. We're just getting in the garlic, the pumpkins, the okra. Yeah, I know I'm late. Doesn't matter. I've got okra forming right now. I'm super excited. We're in the middle of October and I've got plants popping up everywhere. Guys, even if I'm too late to get a big harvest in, the roots going into the ground is really what I'm most, I guess the way to say it, it's what I'm most worried about right now. And it's not a worry. It's what I'm most interested in. That's a better wording for it. I'm interested in. I need roots in the soil, kind of like when the military goes out, they need boots on ground. Sam needs roots in soil, okay? The more diversity, the more roots that are breaking into this compacted soil and opening up airways, opening up waterways, decaying in the soil so that the worms have a food source, so that natural worms come into my garden. That's what I'm after. So even if all these plants don't hit maturity before the first frost in December, it's okay because they did their purpose. And that was breaking up that compacted soil with their roots, bringing my dead compacted soil back to life. And that's what I want. That's what I'm interested in. You guys have a blessed day. Thank you for rowing in our boat. Thank you for letting Stephen and I and Starkey Farmstead row in yours. We really want to see everybody have enough food to be able to make it through the winter comfortably for you and your family. We do tours here at Starkey Farmstead. Give us a call. You can find our information all over Facebook. Thank you guys for watching. Be blessed today. Get outside. Get something done. In fact, I'll tell you guys the truth. I've had people ask me, do you have time to harvest the vegetables you have in the ground, especially the transplants up front with the tomatoes? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I might not get fully ripened vegetables, but all of that will be fed back to the animals anyway. But what I do is encourage root growth in my soil. And it's all about getting something in your soil. So even if you don't have enough time to pull food off of that plant, get it in the ground, because guess what? You don't really know when the first frost is going to come. You could always make you a little hothouse out in the garden and protect those plants and continue to grow food until the really hard winter hits. Guys, I'm telling you, if there is a will, there is a way. Don't talk yourself out of a good idea that the Holy Spirit might be giving you, because you're processing it here. Process it here. So you guys have a blessed day. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.